Hello again. I had occasion to go on an archaeological expedition yesterday in connection with my latest book, which is to be about prehistoric London, starting 100 million years ago with the geological formation of the chalk and clay which lies beneath our feet in the capital. I had already seen that the Meteorological Office had issued warnings about sun and rain, but these I had of course ignored. Seriously, when did it become the role of a government agency to tell us we shouldn't go out during the day? I'll come back to that shortly. When I reached the tube station at Debden, which is on the central line of the underground system, I saw the poster which forms the thumbnail to this video, and it was at this point that I realised that something very odd was going on. Is it really the case that we in this country are unable to embark upon a train journey without carrying a canteen, as though we were trekking across a desert? Apropos of which, I've actually lived in two deserts, the Negev and the Sinai, and I was always able to get about without carrying a canteen. If I'd taken the bus to Beersheba or El Arish and carried a canteen of water with me, I would have got some very odd looks from the other passengers. So what is it about London these days which causes the authorities to warn us against boarding a tube train without a canteen of water? The aim is, of course, to make us nervous and to underline the danger which we face of climate change and to pretend that those travelling on the central line are likely to suffer dehydration or heat stroke if they start their journey without taking prudent precautions. During the COVID business, governments, not just in Britain but across the world, found that they could get people to do literally anything if they persuaded them that their lives and those of their family were in danger. This was a very interesting discovery, and we can hardly blame those in authority for making the most of it and looking for ways to scare people about other imaginary dangers which face them. The more frightened people are, the more likely they are to do as they're told, if the government tells them that this will make them safe. Take weather, something which most of us grew up with and took for granted. How would it be if you could persuade people that weather was a terrible thing and could harm you unless you followed the government's guidelines and instructions on how to deal with it? This is essentially what the global warming and climate change business is about. In this country, there was once a fairly innocuous body called Public Health England, which used to give people advice about various things. During COVID, this metamorphosed into the sinister-sounding United Kingdom Health Security Agency, and they are now issuing alerts about the possibility of weather. Sun, rain, winds, frost, snow, cold weather, hot weather, it makes no difference. It's weather itself which is the menace here. It's a chance to boss us around and issue pointless and unnecessary instructions, such as staying indoors when the sun is shining. I am not making that up, and I give a link to the government website about the warning. It seems that when the sun shines in June, rather than going out and enjoying it as people once did in this country, we should, and allow me to quote what we should do now when the sun shines. Keep out of the sun at the hottest time of the day between 11 and 3 p.m. If you're going to do a physical activity, for example exercise or walking the dog, plan to do these during times of the day when it is cooler, such as morning or evening. Keep your home cool by closing windows and curtains in rooms that face the sun. If you do go outside, cover up with suitable clothing such as an appropriate hat and sunglasses. Seek shade and apply sunscreen regularly. Drink plenty of fluids and limit your alcohol intake. Note how they managed to warn about alcohol as well as sunbathing. For now, this is advice, but it's easy enough to imagine that it could become an order, a legal requirement like lockdown, with people being confined to their homes during the days when it is hot and sunny. Does anybody else remember the police patrolling the beaches a few years ago and ordering people to return to their homes and stay indoors? Think that couldn't happen again? Think again. The idea that we should be allowed to decide for ourselves what steps to take to guard our health and look after ourselves is increasingly seen as old-fashioned. There's a lot of evidence lately that people like being bossed around in this way, especially younger people. It reassures them and makes them feel safer. Some youngsters are now so worried about weather that they are choosing not to have babies because to bring them into a sunny world would, they think, be irresponsible. Fears of the weather are just one strand of what governments are up to lately, even our own in Britain. People who are scared will do whatever they are told if they think it will save them. And this is how democracy, personal responsibility, and individual liberty slip away without anybody noticing.